Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. And somebody sent me this photograph, and always I make a duplicate of it and move it out of the way. Then I'm going to select this item and go to the crop tool. I'm going to crop out that circle. And the reason I'm going to crop out that circle is because I want to try to put that circle in the center of the page. Now, in this particular circle, the picture was taking a little bit of an angle or a skew, and it's not going to be in the center. I didn't hit crop. And then, well, what happened there? Let me back up. Let me just start over. Take the crop tool and crop it. In this case, isn't going to help us too much because, like I said, that circle is not perfect. And then go to crop. And by having it selected, you everything else on your page stay. And then we're going to hit P, put it in the center of the page. And you're going to see in just a second that it's not in the center of the page because my indexing lines are in the center of the page. So we're just going to use it for a reference. I've already made this one like 12 inches, so I'm going to put it in the center of the page. I am going to take an ellipse and make it 12 inches. I've got my ratio locked, so it'll be 12 inches on both sides. Now it kind of looks like it's actually centered, but for some reason it's not. Their drawing is not. I'm going to double check my lines, and they are in the center of the page. Now we're going to take another ellipse, holding down the control button to get about the size of the other one and hit P. And then I'm going to take the picture and I'm just going to nudge it out of the way. So those two circles are on the center of the page. Now, it'd be neat to know the size of this. And you can always change it later. The best way I know to make a diamond is to use the polygon tool and have it on four-sided. And if you draw like that, it'll make it even. So that's about the size of our first one. Hit the plus key on the keyboard. The other ones are really small. I'm not going to go that small. But I'm using the exact same shape, but I'm just going to reduce it quite a bit. I'm going to make it about that small. Now, we can actually take this picture out of the way, and we can take these two items. A couple ways we can do this. One, we can go to Effects and Blend, and there's 9 of them. 9 of them, so we got 2, so we only need 7. And it does a pretty good job. We might want to change the shape later, but that's good to start with. And I'm going to select them all and go to Object and break the blend apart. Select them all again and go to Object and Group and ungroup them. And now, so this is going to be our top one. We're just going to go with that. I don't know, there's my 12-inch circle. And let me back up here. Yeah, there's the one we need. I'm actually going to move these closer in, and I'm going to take the very top one and hit P, put it in the center of the page. And then I'm going to select the outside circle with the Shift tool and hit T and put it to the top. I've got my nudge factor set on 1/2 inch. I'm going to nudge it down 1/2 inch. Now what you can do, you could space these out any which way you want, but we need 45 of them, so that's an 8-degree increment. So I'm going to hit the Control D on the keyboard, make a duplicate, and move the rotation to the center. A lot of times it doesn't look like it is, and it's not on this case, but just kind of move it around. And now we're in the center. I'm going to rotate it 8 degrees. Not 80, 8 degrees. Control D, rotate it 16 degrees. So you need a number divisible by 360. Now there's several ways you could add the next one. I'm going to hit P, put it in the center of the page. Then holding down the control button, I'm going to put it, kind of try to figure out where you're going to put it. We're going to try to connect them all to that center node. Now this time we're going to hit the plus key or hit double click on it, get our center rotation. It's in the center. We're going to rotate it 4 degrees. That's really close, but it would look pretty cool, but we really need it to kind of And looks like my diamond isn't equal or it changes. So let's back up here and let's nudge it down. Have to get off the subject. Let's nudge it down 0.25. So each one of them we're going to nudge down 0.25. Now Control D and make a duplicate. And see our center rotation move, but just move it to back to the top. And rotate this 4 degrees. I can actually get rid of that one. Control D again and rotate it 8 degrees. Let me back up here. Let me do this one. Control D, make sure the center rotation's in the center. And at this case, you could almost want to, so we're going to rotate it 4 degrees. Now we're going to Control D and rotate it 8 to 12 degrees. There we go. And just go all the way around. We're going to delete that first one. And then just keep doing that all the way around. And you could change the size. So I'm holding down the control button to get it equal. Now we're a little bit off on this because we don't have anything to stop at. But the other was not perfect, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to make them a little more perfect. I'm going to change my nudge factor to something pretty low, like 0.01. And I'm going to nudge this guy down just a little bit, trying to make these spaces equal. Control D and make a duplicate of it. Hit double click on the rotation and move the rotation to the center. And then rotate it 8 degrees. Control D, 16 degrees. And you could use the transformation docker. Matter of fact, I will on the next one. Let's do one more. We'll take this size, hit P, put it in the center of the page, move it up. Now this one we're going to be able to put there, and we can nudge down that 1/4 of an inch, 0.25. And it might be too much because we're smaller spaces, but I think we're good to go. Let's just do a test. Let's do a rotate. If you ever see anything move, just move back. Rotate this one 4 degrees. That's pretty good. Control D. Now, you know what? I said I was going to use the transformation docker. So let's go to Windows, Dockers, Transform or Transformation. Yours is going to say. I'm going to rotate it 44 because I've already got one at 8 degrees, but I need it 4 degrees first. So let's, before we use that, let's go ahead and rotate it that 4 degrees. Now we can select it. We still got our center rotation. And it did it that fast without having to, and just keep going all the way down. Now the other way that I was thinking about would be an easy way to duplicate these would be to, you've got your size and you figured out that's what you want. Hit the plus key on your keyboard and move it over, but then make it 90%. Hit the plus key on your keyboard. This is going to work kind of like the blend, but you've got a little bit more control. 80% plus key on your keyboard. So what we're doing is just making it 10% smaller every time. And then you just do the exact same thing by starting it off. Anyway, I hope it helps him a little bit, and thank you for watching.